After months of rumours and leaks, the iPad Pro has finally arrived, but now that it's here, it actually looks a lot like what we've already seen from Microsoft with the Surface Pro 3. Hey, what's up everyone, CTNtechnologynews here, and in this video I'm going to be putting these two productivity-oriented tablets back to back, just so you can get an idea of which one is better. So Microsoft gets a lot of flack for copying Apple with its products and services, but in this case there's no doubt in my mind that it's the other way around. The iPad Pro doesn't have a kickstand, but it does have an enormous 12.9-inch screen. That's roughly the same market Microsoft aims the Surface Pro 3 at, which is notebook buyers. On its own it looks like a giant tablet, but Apple's also added a port for a keyboard to snap onto the bottom, and then also a stylus that lets users draw and navigate its refreshed iOS operating system. iOS 9 takes the rivalry beyond software, borrowing Microsoft's side-by-side app multitasking to give iPad Pro users a way to do two things on their device at once. Having said that though, the operating system is actually an area where the Surface Pro 3 is a fair bit ahead of the iPad Pro. Sure, Microsoft did a pretty terrible job originally with Windows 8, trying to combine the touchscreen interfaces of mobile devices with the keyboard experiences of laptops and PCs, but there's no doubt that Microsoft has learned its lessons with Windows 10. The Surface Pro 3 allows users to install desktop programs not available in the Windows Store, and then with Windows 10's tablet mode off, users get a Windows notebook, which is something they already know how to use and have programs for. By contrast, the iPad Pro actually seems pretty underwhelming as to what it can do. Apple seems to have erred on the side of preserving its lineup without major changes, and while the iPad Pro does have a super gorgeous touch display and app multitasking, it leaves behind the more productivity-oriented macOS apps. Also, while iOS 9 supports Bluetooth keyboards, it doesn't support Bluetooth mice, and then the Apple keyboard, which is actually designed to work with the iPad Pro, doesn't have a touchpad either. That means you won't be able to use a cursor on the iPad Pro, which does compromise your computing experience a bit when you're constantly having to tap the screen to do different things. Again, the iPad Pro has actually got a much brighter and crisper screen than the Surface Pro 3, but in my book that just doesn't seem like quite enough reason to choose Apple's tablet over what Microsoft is already offering. But computing experience aside, let's just go ahead and take a look at what's underneath the hood of both these tablets. Although the iPad Pro looks in many ways like a larger version of the iPad Air, it features a much faster A9 chip, which is supposedly faster than 80% of all portable PCs released in the past year. That means that it should be a fair bit faster than the i3 core inside the Surface Pro 3, which isn't that great honestly. I mean, it's decent for a low-end laptop, but it's definitely not going to go too far above and beyond your expectations. Now, the battery lives of these two devices should be fairly similar. If what Apple said is true, the iPad Pro will actually have a 1 hour faster battery life than the Surface Pro 3, but that's hardly going to be a deal breaker in deciding which of these two tablets to get. Honestly, for me the big deal breaker between these two devices is the price, and unfortunately, regardless of whether you get the Surface Pro 3 or the iPad Pro, you're probably going to end up spending more than the $799 starting price when you factor in all the accessories and storage upgrades you can get. The Surface Pro 3 does come with a $50 Surface Pen, but it doesn't come with the $129 Surface Pro 3 type keyboard, which is really an integral part of the whole experience. The type cover locks into a port on the bottom of the Surface Pro, and you can elevate the keyboard by pushing it slightly in on your display. This locking mechanism actually works really well for using the Surface Pro 3 in a lap, and it actually makes the Surface Pro 3 a very legitimate laptop competitor. The iPad Pro, on the other hand, doesn't come with either the $99 Apple Pencil or the additional $169 keyboard, so you're going to have to buy both of those separately if you want them. Also, the base iPad Pro only comes with 32GB of internal storage, which is really not much at all when you consider the operating system is already taking a fair bit of space. Although Windows 10 probably does take up more space than iOS 9 does, the Surface Pro 3 comes with double the space of Apple's iPad Pro, 64GB versus the 32GB as I already said in the baseline iPad model. But anyways, that's pretty much all the basic differences between the Surface Pro 3 and the iPad Pro, and it doesn't even get into some of the additional productivity-focused features that Microsoft's tablet offers. For instance, the Surface Pro 3 is a full-size USB 3.0 port and a mini display port for use with external displays, which makes it really easy to get connected. The iPad Pro, on the other hand, still only has the standard Lightning dock at the bottom, which means you'll have to choose between charging it and connecting it to a different accessory. All in all, I do think that the Surface Pro 3 is a better value than the iPad Pro, and obviously your personal preference is going to come down a bit to operating system and which company you prefer, but in my opinion, I do think the Surface Pro 3 delivers a better experience for the price it's selling at. But give me your opinions on these two tablets in the comments below, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it and you thought it was a helpful comparison, and I will see you next time.